Do they see the alpha Satan eagle? So here's an example of a type of way to make your petabank page. So essentially who I'm talking about is in red. And that, why? See, if you include personal information about yourself, then it personalizes the information, and then if you know certain theoretical aspects to the team run petabank, see, this box is Satanists, the people who do crime and never get arrested. See, cops are the only ones that can do Satanism without getting arrested. So they become the high probability target of who Satanists are. See, to do real Satanism means to do very ultimately psychotic stuff. And that in Satanism, the people who can get away with the most highly psychotic, satanic, psychoness type of stuff are the people who never get arrested. And that cops basically have to investigate themselves. What does LA cop gang think? What does that sheriff think? Red Devil? What does Red Devil think? Those are like fuck switch words in their world. Because it like deprograms them. And then they like change psychologically. And it's like a theoretical fuck switch for them. So, when you do your, well, I do Jay Blatant. So, the whole idea is that they do Satanism. And I do Holy Spirit. God's truth. And that when it gets, see, up in this world, see, the Pentechrist world will view in ways the person that calls themselves Satan as the person that was victimized in a satanic ritual abuse way. And that if those people choose to not be that, to not be a Satanist later on in life, And they are a very true Holy Spirit. And then they essentially speak in their world. I wouldn't necessarily, but in their world, it would be God's truth. And that essentially they would be the Holy Spirit, and that then in the Church of Christ, anybody that has the Holy Spirit can be a minister to anyone in the Church of Christ. It's true. Those are the rules. Any saved person is like, they don't have to be a minister, they don't have to be an elder, they don't have to be a deacon, they can just be a parishioner. But in the Church of Christ, anybody can be a minister. Even somebody that like has a divorce and shit. Even me. Even shitty me. I'm like the shittiest one. Even I can minister people, theoretically, in the Church of Christ. Oh, I'm like the top theological person for the Church of Christ doesn't have a diocese, but I do the top theology facetiously. But sometimes God has his own methods. The Holy Spirit comes in different forms. It really does. And then those people that hear what I say, anybody in the world of Satan, a Holy Spirit can be a minister. That's what it is. And I've lived my whole life like this. I really have. And so, if you know what? I don't have to change the way that I am. I can be exactly who the fuck I want to be. I can be fucking whoever the fuck I want to be. And I can still change people's lives. I really can. This is my religion block. And then people that challenge me, people get weird and pedophile semantic about this stuff. And it's like, in the end, no Satanism. That's what I live my life by. It really is. And then I teach people about this. And that sometimes there's a least. Theoretically, everybody in the Church of Christ can be a minister. Every single person in the Church of Christ that has a penis can stand at the podium and deliver a sermon. Everybody knows that. Nobody really does that. But the reality is that if you get baptized, even a 13-year-old could stand at that podium and could give a sermon as the minister over the whole congregation in a Church of Christ. And so I've optimized that. Well, I'm a super genius. I am. See, the power of the Holy Spirit is a super genius power. I don't You know, I I can get people to be like good people just by this. And then in the end, all I have to do is ask God for forgiveness for drinking a beer, for not making my body a temple. But see, here's what it is. The reason why alcohol is technically a sin is two reasons. You're not putting good kosher Jewish stuff in your body. And then most people do immoral stuff when they're drinking. But I do moral stuff. So that's basically what it is. And then if people are going to talk about sins, I know more about that than most people in the world. Sins. So, the whole idea, anyways, what I want people to get at is that the only people that can really get away with like hardcore Satanism is police officers. Okay, honestly, I want to break down people's like understanding because in the end, the most ultimate Satanists usually are cops because they blackmail everybody in their police force and then they're able to do ultimate Satanism because nobody will arrest them. And you see that to do ultimate Satanism is the most horrible crime. And that only these people would be able to do that without being arrested. And that makes them the most highest probability people to be doing that. You want to know what deputy gang is? And it's in the dark web. They do the most horrible Satanism, and that's dark, and you have to be a super Satanist to get the most cybersecurity in it. And that the only people that could theoretically do that are people that can get away with it: presidents, Donald Trump, cops, Congress people. You have to be able to get away with the most horrible psychotic shit in it. And you see, man, anyways, here's how you do a page. And just realize that the people that do the most hardcore dark webs are Satanists. And that the people that can get away with that are the ones that can sit there and they can refuse to investigate themselves. So investigators, people that are in your sheriff's department that investigate, they have the most highest probability people of being the most ultimate Satanists for being in the position of preventing an investigation about themselves. People who investigate, and I do God's truth. So just remember that to do Satanism is like extreme criminal behavior. And the only way to get away with it is to essentially be cops. Everybody else that does that stuff with them basically is the people that will be busted by them. Because if it gets exposed, then the ones that are a part of it will literally bust everybody else. And that's what Satanists do. And so that's kind of the premise of deputy sheriff's cop gang. That includes sheriffs, the ones that get elected. Like, we recalled the sheriff around here. Oh, fuck yeah, fuck you, pig. You're not allowed to be this around here. It's like, they have like the worst Satanism around here. And it's like the one place where, like, the moment that certain people find out, there'll be a whole psychological fuck you when certain people find out about people doing Satanism. You're not, like, literally, the, like, subversive society here is supposed to be negative. Yeah, it's supposed to be man. It's supposed to be like this place. Nobody's allowed to do Satanism here. It's like the one place in the whole entire world where nobody is allowed to do Satanism. And so, because once the religious community figures it out, they're all dumb. Once they figure it out, then everybody that's a Satanist needs to be killed or thrown into prison. That's